A warm welcome to Business Daily right here on Trust Television. I am Yusuf Akogu. Let's take our business top stories. Glad to have you back. Now we go to the stock market to give you highlights of the stock trading as it went down on Friday. The market closed in the negative territory. The all-share index there down 0.17%. In terms of volume of trade, 374.093 million, value at 8.933 billion naira in a deals of 6,822 exchange hands among investors on Friday. We look at the top gainers quickly. The top gaining equities on the day, of course, the like of Omatech was there. 10% it gained to close at 44 kobo per share. Of course, if you go down there, Airtel Africa also closing positive there, 8.53% to close at 1,400 naira 0.10 kobo per share. Of course, if you go down as well, Cavitin Helicopter, 5.84% it gained on the day to close at 1 naira and 45 kobo. Let's look at the top losers. Of course, Oando was there, 9.55% it gained, not up to 10%. It lost on the day, 9 naira per share it closed. SCOA Motors, of course, 9.52% it closed on Friday as well to close at 1 naira and 14 kobo per share. While NEM Insurance closed at 5 naira per share as it lost 9.09%. Let's look at the top traded equities by volume. United Bank for Africa, UBA, 52.4 million shares it traded, followed by Fidelity Bank, 49.7 million shares, and of course Boa Cement, one of the most attractive cement right now in Nigeria, with that very low price of its product. 45.1 million volume of its shares were traded by investors in that company on Friday. We'll look at the rest of Africa and to see how they're doing. JSE in Joburg in South Africa is up there 0.01%. If you go down to Ghana, our next door neighbor, it also closed positive 0.09%. And down there in Nairobi in Kenya, the market went down at 1.69% on Friday. These are the highlights of how the stock trading went down on Friday across the African continent. Now let's look at how the outlook for the market for the week. I'm being joined now via phone from the stock market trading floor in Lagos in Marina by Mr. Charles Fakruga. Hello, good morning, Mr. Charles. All right, we are yet to get in touch with Mr. Charles, but we'll go on a very quick break now. When we return, we'll see how we can reconnect with Mr. Charles before we go into our discussion. Don't go away.
It was never a consensus. We did all our best. You see, in politics, you give your contribution to the best of your ability.
If you want, I'll forward to you this statement. You go to this bank and verify.
But there are people who say not spending money is not about you in itself.
Let me finish.
Because there's so much to be done.
Let me finish. Now, you don't allow me to explain myself.
The recent development shows abductions are now a factor of informants embedded in community.
It's not about the people of Katsina to say that, no, during my administration I was able to stop insecurity. No. It's about collective responsibility for all of us.
And what we should ask ourselves is not what has been seen? Is the life better? Are there more people who are unemployed who are not become employed? Is the level of corruption has gone down? Is there inclusion? All those issues.
We're actually a gas country with associated oil. Our focus has always been on oil, that we have never paid significant attention to gas.
To do it effectively, we need to have honest conversation with ourselves. Government needs to come down from its high horse and communicate with the people and build trust.
There must be a solution. We cannot continue this way. They must come back to the table and agree. So whose child will go to higher education? All these children that sit for jam, they want to go to higher institutions.
But just a short while ago, you were saying that why bring 10 children when you cannot cater for them? So why bring more universities when you cannot cater for the existing?
Glad to have you back. It's still Business Daily right here on Trust Television. For some reason, we are unable to connect with Charles Fakroga to give us the stock market update. But in the meantime, we go into our discussion for the day. Today, we are looking at Nigeria capital importation. That data was released on Friday by the National Bureau of Statistics. And it shows that the Nigeria capital importation fell by 9% in second quarter of 2023. We'll also look at the issue of wage award by the federal government to the federal government workers, the implication of all of this, and of course, how it will affect the federal government wage bill. I'm being joined now in the studio by Mr. Gabriel Idakolo. He's an economic analyst. Glad to have you on Business Daily.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Let's look at the capital importation on Nigeria.
Yes.
That data was released on Friday by the NBS, and we're seeing a decline of about 9%.
Yes.
Given the figure we had before then, 1.03%, now down to 1.13%, now down to 1.03 billion dollars.
Actually, the decline is not just the last quarter data. It has been a consistent decline over the years. And it has been as a result of several factors, from the COVID period down to insecurity in Nigeria and so many other factors that sees most of our major trading partners like the United States, the UK, United Arab Emirates, even the Republic of South Africa, declining in their investment over time. So this result is just an analysis of what has been happening over time. Despite the fact that the new government in power now is trying as much as possible to renew the image of the country, to make Nigeria an investment-friendly country, and to also bring in more investors. So it's a decline that needs to be stemmed, so that the second quarter results and the subsequent results will not paint a decreasing picture as well.
As it is. Now, let's look at it now. Capital importation, like you rightly highlighted, is made up of foreign direct investment, portfolio investment, and of course, other investment from various countries. Now, we're seeing this decline in the second quarter. Do you think this is a reflection of the current economic realities that we're having in Nigeria?
Yes, part of it is the seeming inability of the previous administration to handle economic issues in a way that will instill confidence in investors. And you'll see that our traditional trading partners, most of the time, look at this body language, they look at the figures that are coming out from Nigeria to make investment decisions. And that is why you see that this new president, this new government are now trying to go the way of India and other countries, so as to shore up our investment drive. Because our traditional partners like the United States, the UK, and the rest, looking at our economic volatility, decided to reduce their investment in the country. And you'll see that even the increase that we have seen in the last result has been from other investment. And the good thing about it is that that other investment is mainly into manufacturing and production. And over time, if the confidence can be built and it increases, we can start seeing a positive outlook.
Okay, now let's look at it now. Taking from what you just said now, when this new government came in, key decisions were taken. The more decisions are still being taken as the case may be. The first subsidy was removed. There was exchange rate unification. Some of these decisions were applauded by the World Bank and, of course, the International Monetary Fund, IMF. With this kind of validation from these two big donors, don't you think it was supposed to like instill confidence into investors?
Actually, when you look at Nigerian economy, you cannot remove the political outlook from it. Presently, until the Supreme Court judgment, the investors are still trying to weigh on the situation of the country politically and economically before even those that have made investment pronouncements start coming in with the investment. Also, another aspect that we should look at is that this government has declared that it is open for business, it's investment friendly, but some of the bottlenecks that are there will take a little while for them to be cleared for these investments to start tripping in. And if we need to clear, we need to do it urgently to instill confidence in the investors so that they can see that we're actually open for business. Another issue that could cause a little delay could be a policy somersault in most cases. The past administration effected ease of doing business in Nigeria, but the policy has not really taken a firm root with some back and forth and reversals. So these are part of the issues that investors are looking at to critically appraise their investments drive in Nigeria.
Indeed. Then let's look at what role do you think an agency like CBN will play in all of this? We understand that there's a new leadership at CBN. There's also investigation going on with regard to what happened with the past leadership of that of the Apex Bank. And Nigeria are expecting Mr. Obaze to release his result very soon. And of course, people are also expecting or looking at, predicting the actions that the president is going to take when that report is being released to the public. But looking at having an Apex Bank, a banker's bank, being immersed in this kind of corrupt practices, what implication do you think that will have on the economy as a whole?
Yes, it has far-reaching implications on the economy. It has their actions and inactions in the past 5 years has really slowed down the economic growth of this country. And you also discover that their policy pronouncement has been try your luck to the extent that most of the pronouncement has not really yielded fruit. And you can also remove political inclinations from it. And you see that the past CBN governor is the most politicized governor that Nigeria has ever had. And immediately you mix...
He wanted to run for president as a sitting governor.
Yes, something like that. Immediately you mix politics with business, it will definitely affect the psyche of investment and projection and outlook of the country. So we discovered that some of the decisions taken could be seen to be politically motivated. That's the Naira redesign policy and some of the other policies like the anchor borrower policy that a large chunk of it went into the hands of political cronies and rent seekers. And we also discovered that before the dollar free flow of dollar denomination issue came up, you discovered that some people were benefiting tremendously from the primary rate that is being dished out by the Central Bank of Nigeria, creating a very large market for political jobbers to make a lot from Nigeria. So you discover that most of the policies that the past administration of the Central Bank churned out painted Nigeria in a bad light, made Nigeria to look as if we are not serious, and also made investors to kind of be skeptical about Nigeria's economic prowess. And I believe that with the report that is coming out by the special investigation report led by Mr. Obaze, a lot will be spoken. And the important thing is the house cleaning. If Nigeria is serious about economic investment, we need to clean our house. We must be seen to be transparent. We must be seen to be fighting corruption so that investors will have confidence that their funds that they are repatriating to the country will be taken back safely.
Safely, indeed. That is another very key statement there. Some of the reason why we see some of these investors not really keen about coming to Nigeria is their inability of some that are here to even take back their profit. So that is another very key point that you actually highlighted there. And then look at the tax that way. Do you think Mr. Akiyemi Cardoso, the new CBN governor, and his team, the task do you think that they will face now in this economy? There is quite a whole lot of rots. Many people have actually admitted that, and he is spearheading that reform. What do you think should be his immediate focus?
Actually, just like I said earlier, the Central Bank of Nigeria in the past years have veered off from monetary policy.
Key responsibilities.
So I think he needs to face the monetary policy issues, tackle regulation in the system, ensure that commercial banks and other financial institutions under the purview of the CBN are functioning according to instructions, and ensure that whatever field is rent-seeking is removed from the system. Another thing is that there are some actions that the central bank, the previous central bank took that really does not concern them in the area of buildings and road production. I know that there are interventions that the central bank will take into, but when we're in a critical state of the country, I think the central bank should focus itself on monetary policies to ensure that it is perfectly implemented to the extent that we'll start seeing positive results in the economy.
Well, another issue again is the issue of exchange rate volatility. Yes, at now, many Nigerians don't even know how much Naira is exchanging to other major foreign currencies. There is the issue of inflation that has been on the increase for a very long time. The monetary policy rate, the MPR, has also been on the increase as well. Now, in a couple of weeks from now, we're going to have probably the first monetary policy committee meeting under the new leadership at CBN. The inflation rate is high. Exchange rate is in a very serious crisis, and of course the MPR as well is not really looking good. What do you think should be the decision that should come out from that meeting?
I believe that the new CBN governor with his team has enough time in their hands to take cogent decisions that can turn around the landscape.
You have confidence in them?
I believe so. I have confidence in them. I believe in their experience that they have garnered over the years, and I believe that they are going to put it to use. We have various problems that are on ground. Some of the issues that fuel these problems, like the issue of the continuous decline of the value of the Naira, has been uncertainty and suspicion on the part of the business community as regards intervention of the central bank, and the perceived issue of the fact that Nigeria does not have enough foreign exchange to intervene in the market. And if there is no enough foreign exchange to intervene, then there will be scarcity. And we can see that scarcity that is causing this consistent rise in the dollar to the Naira. The issue, you remember about 2 months ago when the government decided to partner with Nexim, Afri-Exim Bank, as a result of the $3 billion oil swap. You discover that it immediately gained traction in the economy and the dollar reduced. But immediately the players discovered that the funds are not coming, it started going up again. So when you take positive steps, which I expect this new CBN team to take positive steps to address the issue of the Naira strength against the dollar, it must be seen to be working, not just policy pronouncements.
All right, not talking about seeing it to be working, I am curious because I followed the new CBN governor screening at the Senate. He did say that the Naira should be exchanging to US dollar at around at the rate of around 700 or 750 per dollar. For a currency that was introduced in the 70s, in the early 70s, as at that time the Naira was stronger than the US dollar. In fact, it was competing favorably with the British pound. For that same currency to now be trading at over 1,000 Naira, and even the CBN governor is even predicting 700 Naira to the US dollar. Where is the hope?
No, that his prediction is a fair value of the Naira, as the present situation is. For any country's currency to gain strength, it must be a currency, a country that is heavily involved in exports. Nigeria is not involved.
We need to get more involved in production.
We need to get more involved in production and export of our local resources here, both mineral resources and productions from Nigeria. You'll discover that importation in the country takes 60 or 70% of what takes over foreign currency in this country. So for us to regain strength as a country in the area of exchange rate stability, we need to be a country that is doing so much in export. And that is why some of the policies in the past has been to encourage exports in the country, give incentives on export. But it is not, we are not yet there. Why we are not yet there again is that our manufacturing capacity has not reached the strength that it will enable consistent export over time. And what causes that is that Nigeria has not reached a state where we will have a very vibrant steel sector that can aid manufacturing of equipment, cars, and other very important things.
Even with a big company like Idakolo Steel Company.
It's a shame that Idakolo Steel Company is still where it is over about 20-something or 30 years that it has been established. But that will have been the game changer for the country had it has been operational since inception. Probably countries like Singapore and the rest that we started off together wouldn't have left us behind and will be in this position.
Or probably maybe there's more corruption here than there are in Singapore and other places, and we have not really taken drastic action to address the root cause of corruption in Nigeria.
The problem in Nigeria is the determination to fight corruption and the endemic nature of corruption. You know, everybody likes to point the accusing fingers at the leadership, but you discover that right from the head down to the toe is corrupt. So we need to change our dynamics and the view around corruption and be able to take drastic actions. Yes, you look at a country like China, for example. Yes, we have corruption in China, but there are dangerous laws in China that prosecute corruption when you are caught. But those laws in Nigeria are very flimsy. There is a situation whereby about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we are hearing that the CBN governor that is being prosecuted is looking at plea bargain. So if I know that I can steal so much and do plea bargain, which other people that have stolen so much in this country are doing, then why should I stop? When you are not putting extreme punitive measures when people are corrupt, when you are not putting them on the hangman's nose, giving them death sentences so that it will serve as a deterrent to others.
Absolutely.
And ensuring that those that are corrupt are also removed from positions of authority even before the investigation starts, so that they will not impede the investigation. And also we need to educate ourselves, maybe through the National Orientation Agency and other agencies, on celebrating acts of corruption. Nigerians, we celebrate acts of corruption. If you go to a public office in Nigeria, for example, and you say you want to do things differently, and you are not bringing things down to your constituency, they call you a fool. That's a major problem we have in this country.
Absolutely. Before we go, let's quickly, let me get your take on the wage award being proposed by the federal government. 25,000 now, it has been moved to 35,000 to federal government workers. Don't you think this will increase the government wage bill?
Definitely. In the next 6 months, if it stops at 6 months, they are looking at a wage bill of about 315 billion increase. And when that happens, the macroeconomic dynamics in Nigeria is that immediately the government announces a wage increase, it affects every other sector. Consumer prices, commodities are going to rise. Cost of goods and services are going to rise. I tell you that with the mere presentation and agreement on that wage alone, prices of goods and services have started rising, even before it is implemented. So that is the Nigeria.
So we should expect inflation numbers to keep rising.
Yes, it will keep rising. And again, we will discover that even this is a wage award, is not a minimum wage, which is going to be looked at next year. But one thing that is also there is that fairly looking at Nigerian workers, even this present 35,000 added to anything, inflation has already eaten deep into it. And it might not amount to a real wage at the end of the day.
All right, Mr. Gabriel Idakolo, I must thank you for your time on Business Daily today. It's really nice talking to you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. With that, is a wrap on the show today. I'll be back tomorrow. I am Yusuf Akowu.